Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Geek Dad Reviews. I'm Brian West, the hostess with the absolute Superman mostest.
And I am Ryan, who is absolute Constantine magic, drinking and drinking some more. That's what I want to do.
That's actually pretty good. You know, I've always wanted to be Superman, but after watching a lot of these DC animated movies, John Constantine may be the way to go.
You know, he gets to do a lot of the swearing, you know.
Yeah, well, Superman's always kind of a Boy Scout. He's expected to do the right thing all the time. John Constantine definitely walks that line of good and bad.
Yeah. And he's got cool magic.
That's true. And he wears an awesome trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what we're talking about, well, that's the subject of our show today. We're going to be reviewing Justice League Dark, Apokolips War, the latest animated gem from DC Animation. And yeah, we're going to be talking all about John Constantine, Superman, and all the rest of the band of merry, I don't know, superheroes.
Are they married? No, that's the thing.
Definitely not in this movie. We are going to try and keep it spoiler free for a little bit. So if you haven't seen it and you want our honest opinion about whether you should check it out, well, you can watch the first half and then come back later for the second half where we are going to be doing full spoilers for this because there's so much that happened. Yeah. I just watched it last night and I have not even really had a chance to talk to you yet, Ryan, about it. And so I want to dive full into it, but we will make sure that we give the warning about spoilers before we get into it, so it is not ruined. Because you definitely do not want to miss this one. So, like I said, if you haven't been able to tell from our tone, we really like this movie a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how to say how much I enjoyed this movie, but yeah. I will say I had a smile on my face most of the time. And I was sucked into it from the beginning to the end.
I had a smile on my face, except for some of the most gruesome things I've ever seen in animated movies. It's
definitely the most gruesome scene for a DC animated movie.
Yeah, it's maybe not the most thing. I mean, some of the anime movies from Japan tend to get a little violent from time to time. So yeah. I would not necessarily put this quite on that level, but it is. Man, it's like you said, it's probably the most violent DC anime movie I've ever seen. But first of all, before we start talking about what we thought about the movie, this is the final entry into the DC Animation New 52. So for the last 4 or 5 years, they rebooted. Every so often they kind of reboot their animated universe, going off of whatever source material they have. For the last 4 or 5 years, they've been doing the New 52, which. It's been, I mean, I think we reviewed almost all of them on the show. There's been some really good ones. There's been more bad than good, in my opinion. But the good ones have been really, really good. That's the one thing about this new run. It's when they hit really hard, and they've really introduced us to a lot of secondary characters. So, a lot of times the Superman, the Batman, the Wonder Woman movies aren't nearly as strong as when they do like a side quest. So like when you get the first Justice League Dark movie or your Suicide Squad movie, those were some of the best ones that I think I've ever seen. And I think it's fitting and I think it's very telling that they decided to end this current run, this universe, with a Justice League Dark movie instead of a Justice League movie.
Yeah, it's Justice League Dark. Definitely. I think they don't take that lightly. With the regular Justice League movie, they kind of have you have the standard in your head of what needs to happen. And in the other Justice League movie, there's a lot of action stuff going on, but Justice League Dark, they're able to crank that up. If you want to see some people just get their heads splattered and stuff like that, I mean, you can do that in the Justice League Dark movie.
There are literally well-known superheroes that who get their arms ripped off, literally ripped off. Not like you glance at, no, like they pull and it comes off, and you're like, what am I watching? But yeah, I mean, Justice League. Anybody's not familiar with Justice League Dark? Basically, it's the Justice League team that is made up of mostly magicians. It's got Zatanna. It's got Constantine. Sometimes it has a Swamp Thing. Dead Man.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of the darker characters, which is why they call it Justice League Dark. This one focuses not so much on the darker characters. This one just mostly the main story is told through the eyes of John Constantine in this. But this is very much a Justice League story, which I actually kind of enjoyed. I liked how they didn't. When I heard this was going to end it all, I thought it was kind of strange that they would do a Justice League Dark, just because, as much as I love like I said, I love John Constantine and Zatanna and all those characters. Like, it seems like a strange place to end without having Superman and Batman, especially since so much of this new 52 has been about the big main Justice League characters. But that is absolutely not what happens here. This is a complete Justice League story. It's just kind of told through the eyes of John Constantine. And to your point, they were able to throw that big dark across the title, which they absolutely need, because this is a hard R. If you are a parent and you have young children, I had to make sure my children knew that they were absolutely under no circumstances allowed to watch this. There's a lot of F-bombs, which doesn't bother me so much, but the violence is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that part when we do talk about the spoilers.
We're gonna talk about all the people who get ripped in half in the spoilers, but
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of alcohol consumption, a lot of violence.
That's not so bad.
But there's so much cool stuff that happens in this movie.
And what I like about this this one's an hour and a half too. It's a lot of times the ones we get are like an hour and 10 minutes, and they never feel really long enough to give us a fully developed movie. This one feels like a fully developed movie. I mean, it does jump right into it. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, you don't necessarily have to watch them, but they do a good job of everything that's come before kind of built up to this moment. And it's just like the very beginning, like first couple of minutes, Superman's like, I've had it. It's time for Apokolips to die. And you're like, oh, okay, we're getting right to it. And that's kind of all you really need to know.
And they actually do a great conclusion for the Raven storyline that they had started. And it was a previous Justice League Dark movie.
Well, no, that was in Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. They started that whole storyline.
That's one where Trigon comes and stuff like that.
Another good movie. This one wraps up that storyline. This one wraps up the Justice League Dark storyline. This one gives an incredible callback and wrap up to the Suicide Squad movie. It wraps up the Man of Steel movies. It wraps up maybe not so much the Batman movies, because those were already kind of wrapped up.
Batman movies in this time around.
No, they only had a couple of them. They had the Son of Batman. They definitely do wrap up the Damian Wayne storyline.
Yeah.
But the big ones. But like I said, I was really excited. We get Suicide Squad in here, who I think might be my favorite part of this movie. I'm not. We'll talk about it in spoilers, but. The Suicide Squad is just incredible. They are perfect for animated movies. I don't know any other way to say it.
It's hard not to appreciate or have a new appreciation for King Shark and the Australian guy with the boomerang.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Dude, between Jai Courtney in the Suicide Squad movie and this version of Captain Boomerang, a guy who throws boomerangs is suddenly becoming one of my favorite villains. The guy is incredible.
When he has a scene and he just, you get a rank, and he just, just talks.
Yeah. Dude, he's great in this. But so this brings back all the voice talent of all the people that you've known and loved throughout the DC, like the new 52, like I said. But I don't know what else we can say about this. I don't want to spoil any of the major plot points or the deaths or anything. So, unless you got something else to say, I'm just going to say this is an absolute fantastic finish to a very up and down run of the 52, to the point where Flashpoint Paradox was probably one of my favorite animated movies that I've ever seen DC Universe do. This one, in my opinion, rivals it. I don't know if it beats it, because Flashpoint Paradox is so good, but it's right there. Like, this is one of the best animated features they've done. And it's, it's very in-game. It's got a very in-game vibe to it, and they just knock it out of the park.
I think that for Flashpoint, I think is what kicked off the whole new 52. Yeah. I think that would probably... Man, I don't know, because Flashpoint 1 is probably one of my most favorite ones.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know what? I totally forgot that
Flashpoint is the one that begins this, and Justice League Dark Apokolips War is what ends it. Then, I mean, I don't think you can have two more perfect movies
No,
to start and end it. And
well, and
whatever happens in the middle, what happens in the middle. But I think they had a solid start and finish.
To your point, I totally forgot that Flashpoint started this universe, and it makes total sense because in a lot of ways, this is kind of just it's a perfect pairing. You could watch Flashpoint Paradox and watch Justice League Apokolips War and just be like, oh my god, it's like part 1 and part 2 of an crazy story. Yeah, it's wow. I didn't even think about that, but I also say, well, I'd like to give a shout out to the animation. You know, we always talk about how good it is, but this one is extremely like crazy good. I watched it in 4K, and a lot of times when you watch them in 4K, I got a new 75-inch Samsung TV, and when you watch the animated stuff in 4K, you really can see the lines. Like it really pushes it. This one, you didn't at all. Like it's one of the best looking animated movies I've ever seen. Like it's up there. I mean, it's not Pixar because it's not Pixar, but I would put it up against anything that Disney 2D animation's ever done. Like it's really good.
The you can get it's 4K UDHD and LXP XR.
Yeah, and I watched it in all those. And they were all good. They cranked it
to the max when they developed the movie. I mean, if you have a really pretty screen or TV like Brian, I mean this stuff is gonna look good.
It looked so good. It looked great. I mean, it looks good. It sounds good. Like I said, it's an hour and a half, so it's one of the first ones that gives you a full, like it actually feels like you could have went to a movie theater and watched this. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, which a lot of times these movies don't have, and it's good. I can't rave highly enough about it. It's by far the best of the new 52, and I would put it up there with the best of anything DC Animation's done. So
yeah, I agree. It's a perfect capstone to what they're trying to accomplish. And I don't think we can really say much more without having to get into spoilers.
Yeah, so we're gonna both say buy this movie. I would just buy it. I mean, you can rent it if you want to, but I would buy it because I'm gonna watch this multiple times because it's that good. Go out, buy it now. You won't be sorry unless you hate violence. Then you definitely will be sorry.
I think you can get it on digital as well.
Yep.
But
like I said, rated R. It's a very hard.
Can we talk about the really
hang
cool
on.
stuff
It's the last. I just want to make sure that we tell parents it is a very hard R. Do not let your kids talk you into letting them watch this. They will have nightmares. They will be in your bedroom crying, sobbing themselves to sleep. It's just blah.
But because they might have a catchy Harley Quinn song stuck in their head.
Because Apokolips is like the villain from what's that dude who Pinhead with the cube? What movie is that? Hellraiser. Apokolips is basically Hellraiser. And he just is what nightmares are made of. So, anyway, don't let your kids watch it. All right, that brings us to what you want, Ryan, what I want, and probably what the people watching this want. Full fucking spoilers. And we're spoiling everything. We're talking about everything that we want to talk about in this movie. So you have been warned. Come back later if you haven't seen it yet. Or if you love spoilers, well, okay, you're in the right place because we're going to spoil the shit out of you. All right, so first, before we get into the plot details, what was your most either surprisingly gruesome, like maybe not death, or just surprisingly gruesome thing, or worst death? Who do you think?
I think gruesome death, I'm going to go with Damien.
Oh, really? You thought Damien, getting hit with the Omega beams was the worst thing?
That was more, impactful, I guess.
You think that was worse than Starfire getting ripped in half and her guts being laid out to just...
I'll say...
or Black Manta? Remember when Black Manta got ripped in half?
Yeah. I'll say anytime King Shark was in action...
oh, God. They didn't really show him killing people, even though... King Shark.
That's how gruesome it was.
Dude, King Shark was great.
When it shows Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang are like,
Dude, or how about when Harley Quinn is going around smashing people's heads? Like they're on the ground and she's just blowing their skulls up.
If you're happy and you know it, smash your head. If you're happy and you know it, see some brain.
Flash. And then she's covered in blood and she's like, oh, I need a cigarette. I'm like... Did you just have a blood orgy orgasm? What just happened?
Well, how about the last 20 minutes of the movie, Brian?
Oh my god! Scene. Some of the most incredible violence I've ever seen. When the
Superman like losing it.
Well, forget that even for a second. How about when we should have known when the Suicide Squad is running a mission, it's gonna be bloody. But yeah, to your point, you had King Shark, you had Bane smashing people's faces in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. He was just like ripping people and
just ripping people's arms off, and I'm just like beating them with them. I'm like, what? Yeah, the Suicide Squad for me, I think, was the highlight. They
definitely lived up to their namesake on that one.
Yeah, watching the Justice League get brutalized when Princess Leia, when Princess Diana, when Wonder Woman gets her arm ripped off, I was just like, what is happening?
And just seeing like what happened to Justice League after they were all like basically reassembled by Apokolips.
Yeah. You know what I thought was kind of funny is that they brought Mira in and not Aquaman.
Yeah.
Even Darkseid is like, Aquaman gets no love.
You're like, you know what, dude? You just stay in the water.
Yeah, I mean, Aquaman, yet another person who got ripped in half. Like, there was so many people getting ripped in half in this. It was just...
Well, I was trying to remember, in any of the other the D52 movies... was Aquaman a part of any of them, really?
Yeah, didn't they do the Atlantis storyline? Didn't they do Aquaman King of Atlantis? I think they did an Aquaman storyline.
Oh. Wow. Well.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Regardless, he was missed.
Well, you know what I like too about this movie is that, I mean, we didn't really talk about it in the non-spoiler section. I also like that this very much was an original story, as far as I know. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Like, I did know that once. Here's the thing: they did lay the groundwork for Flashpoint to the Flash to reverse something. I didn't realize it was going to be the Flash though, because I thought they killed the Flash. I thought John Constantine was going to do some kind of a time spell or something. Because
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
When you have this many deaths and this many brutalizations of popular characters, there's zero chance. Now listen, I would have thought DC would... How ballsy would DC have been to just end it this way and then just launch a new universe? That would have been incredible. I've been like, wow.
End it this way and just keep it going.
They're like, yep, we killed Lois Lane.
But we mentally scarred now.
We wiped the board. Yeah, Superman's got his powers back, but pretty much everybody else you know and love is all dead.
The world, the planet's lost 25% of its core.
Yeah.
And
Dick Grayson is
trying to turn into Krypton.
I do kind of hope that they give us maybe one more movie in this universe, because I want to see what happens. Like, I want to see Batman have to deal with the fact that he became Darkseid's minion and probably murdered 1 billion people at least.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Hang on, real quick. Darkseid.
How would they have continued on? The planet was
like. That's what I'm saying. Batman's like, Superman's like, or Batman's like, we'll probably lose 1 billion, but we'll keep fighting. That's what we do. And I'm just like, yeah, you give your speech. I mean, everybody's Lois Lane's dead. Dick Grayson's like a weird, half-dead psycho.
Cyborg, like basically stuck inside a computer chip.
Yeah, for all eternity. We will talk about Darkseid Trigon, because the Trigon storyline was really good in this. But how much of a dick is Darkseid, by the way, when they're at Oa and it's Jon Stewart? He's like slowly crawling to the Green Lantern because he's gonna try one more fight to try and take on Darkseid himself. And you're like, ooh, maybe Jon Stewart is gonna do something. And when he starts, he's like, in brightest day, in darkest night. And then by the time he gets to the end, he's like, no one will escape Green Lantern's might. And as soon as he starts to power up, Darkseid has Batman open a portal of lava right onto him.
Right on
Oa. Wow.
Just destroys the whole planet.
I really enjoyed watching. Okay, so when Darkseid fought, what's the demon's name? Tarragon? Trigon. Did you like better when he fought Trigon by himself, or when Trigon was Superman Trigon?
I would have to say Superman Trigon. Well, just like when Trigon just took over Superman's body and John Constantine, he goes, oh, bollocks,
and then he snaps his neck immediately.
That spell to trap him.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then it just burns off like all the the liquid kryptonite, and
dude, that was
then, like, Superman's got the extra set of eye. Oh no, and then
the
when
fire cape.
Darkseid are shooting the lasers at each other, and then Trigon's got that second set of eyes and opens them up. Like shooting 4 sets of lasers.
I did like watching after Lois died, watching Superman go like full Superman. But what's crazy is like even he still couldn't beat Darkseid. Like Darkseid is just, And I loved how Trigon, even though he knew he was going to be trapped, he was like, "Thank you, daughter." He just wanted to be able to fight somebody.
Yeah, he was just like, whatever, ha ha ha. It's like, let's just go. We'll have this eternal battle for all time.
And Darkseid's like, no. Yeah, dude, that was a great way to end it. And even Flash,
what do you think about Superman when he started to lose his control, though?
What do you mean?
Like when he was punching Darkseid, trying and like punch him in the eye, and then he sticks his fingers in.
In his eyeballs. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I love watching. I love it when that's the cool thing about Superman. A lot of people give Superman crap, but it's just because he's such a powerful character. You have to give him people who are equally or more powerful than him, because then he can finally just unleash. Like, it's not fun when Superman's more powerful than everybody he fights, right? That's what I guess kind of made Lex Luthor always an interesting villain, is that he always used his brains, because in a straight-up fight he would lose to Superman immediately. But it's always fun to see him fight somebody like Doomsday. Or Darkseid.
When you get Superman too powerful, you get the very end of the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
The live action one.
Mm-hmm.
With Superman just like.
I mean, we talked about how excited we are for the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. Something tells me that when Superman shows up, he's not going to just destroy Steppenwolf in 3 punches, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. And nothing fazed him. But in this movie, Superman does get the shit beat out of him. So.
Oh, dude, Superman gets it. They all get a raw deal. Everybody gets a raw deal. You know what I did like? Yeah. I really liked the little bit of a twist. I didn't see it coming. That Zatanna used a spell on Constantine to make him run away. So for 2 years, he's been beating himself up thinking that he ran away on the woman he loved. He was a coward. When in reality... Yeah. It was all Batman's fault because Batman always has a backup plan, and I loved how they did that. That was incredible.
I'm surprised Batman could even think of something like that, but I mean, I guess that's why he does what he does.
Yeah, that's why Batman is Batman. He's I do like how the New 52 really leaned into how smart Batman was versus just like how much of a badass he is.
Yeah.
That being said, when Damian Wayne was like, "I'll defeat you," and he's like, "I was holding back. I won't now." And literally Batman obliterates him in like 5 seconds. I was like, Jesus.
So what do you think about the Lex Luthor trying to like redeem himself, I guess, a little bit?
Dude, I knew it was Lex Luthor. All I could think of, honestly, about Lex Luthor was, I mean, it was pretty funny watching him have to grovel because he's always been, I didn't really like this version of Lex Luthor in the New 52. He's always kind of a little bit of a weasel. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy watching him trying to constantly weasel his way out. But I knew it was him. All I could think about was the Rise of Skywalker with General Hux when he's like, "It was me. I'm the traitor." Yeah. I just kept thinking of that scene.
So,
I think maybe, I like Rainn Wilson a lot, but I think he might have been the wrong choice for Luthor because he gave Luthor almost like a goofy, like you could never really take him seriously quality.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I mean, but I thought Luthor was great in here. I liked it. Like I said, I like the splits that they did of who teamed up with who. So I liked how Luthor ended up with the Suicide Squad, and kind of Lois ended up kind of running the Suicide Squad. In fact, she was kind of a Waller in that scenario. I like the different versions of. I kind of like the Justice League Dark that they rolled with the unpowered Superman and Constantine and Raven and Damian Wayne.
I mean, he literally takes out one of those huge things all by himself.
Yeah.
And all it took was just John Constantine going in there and just pissing him off. And then he goes back to everybody like, "Yep, Swampy's pissed." So he's taking out some stuff.
He should be good for at least one. And so, no, I really like Constantine. I like how one of the things I've always really liked about him versus Doctor Strange, and I do like Doctor Strange, but Constantine always seems like he has to work for his magic, where Doctor Strange is just like, "I'm the greatest wizard in the land," and Constantine's always kind of like, I'm kind of a bootleg wizard, but I'm really good at it.
I did like, oh shoot, what's the name of that demoness with Constantine?
I forget his name. Yeah, he's the Camelot demon.
Yeah, and he just like everything he just like, oh, it's not really a fight.
It's not even a fight. He's so depressed he can't even rhyme. And so when he finally fights Wonder Woman, he's like, ha ha. And even when he dies, he's like, yes, finally a worthy death. And he starts rhyming again.
He gets tossed into the fire.
What does he say? Even though it is all done, I do not regret because it was super fun.
I'm the last of my kind, and now I'm going to die. And he's like, no regrets.
No regrets. And even though I'm done, in the end, it was all fun. And he,
it was fun.
Yeah, I thought that was great. But, I don't have really any complaints about this at all. I mean, it was just a good movie, and it was just gruesome. I mean, the violence was... Woo! You know, Cheetah, they were just gunning down characters like when Cheetah just got shot. Or how about Lady Shiva gets shot in the head? Her brain's blown out. I was like...
Like Cheetah, just saw her for like a little bit and she's dead.
Yeah, you get these main villains who are like, haha, and then just gunned down. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, Parademon. Well, I think that this movie, especially for what we're going to right now, was probably a near perfect escapism for me.
Or a look at like what's going to happen to us in the future.
Yeah.
We need our own Flashpoint. Do you know anybody who can run really fast and reset time and change things? I can think of one event about 4 years ago that we could change.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about how they decided to end this whole series? When the last bit was Flash.
I do think...
It seemed like a little bit of like, come on, guys. This is...
well, especially since Flash, what do they call it? Deus Machina? It felt a little bit like Flash because he didn't do anything else in this except for just... In this movie, anyway, except for just go back and change time. I think it's fitting. I also think they realized that, hey, listen, our series has not been the best. It's kind of gone up and down, but like we said earlier, the best parts of it are the fact that the Suicide Squad movies were really good, the Teen Titans movies were really good, the Justice League Dark were really good. So I like how they leaned into that and made this movie just really gruesome. And they're just like, you know what? We realize that the storytelling in this 52 hasn't been great, so we're just going to start killing people and just have a good... I'm glad that they had a good time with it, knowing that they were going to reset. They could have done... I know Flashpoint was an alternate, but that's something we'd never seen before. This was an end for these characters, so even though the whole thing's getting reset, that whole 52 universe ends with most of them mutilated and massacred. And the planet's probably going to die. So, I mean, that to me, that's
straight. We everyone got taken care of, and it's all going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, they still managed to give a good ending, even though a lot of characters died. They gave a lot of fitting endings to certain characters, and I really like that story development. But at the same time, I think it's ballsy of DC to leave. If you really like the 52 universe, you have left all your heroes. You've told all your fans, well, guess what? They all failed. Most of them died, and the planet's probably going to die too.
Well, I guess, it started with the Flashpoint paradox, and it ended with the Flashpoint paradox.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know how the next batch...
I like that he created a universe that... I like how he made a universe that should never have been in the first place, and it was up to him to fix it. And I do like that continuum, and I thought that was a good way to end it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, at that point, you don't have to reintroduce new elements. Like I said, I really thought that they were going to have Constantine do some kind of a time spell or something. But then at that point, I'm like, well, if he does that, then why didn't he just do it before?
Yeah, if anything in the next batch of movie, just give us more John Constantine.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I have a sneaking suspicion Warner Brothers realizes how popular that character is, and we're going to be seeing a lot more John Constantine in the future. So, that's about all I've got to say about this movie. Like we said earlier, it's amazing, and I loved it.
We could break everything down brick by brick, but I think we did a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, I think we covered all of it for the most part. I think most of the things we're talking about. I did want a quick note. I did like how the running gag of King Shark. King Shark is King Shark. King Shark is, and then all he said was like these weird one or two word answers. And at the very end, when him and Boomerang are about to die, Boomerang's like, well, I guess it's the end for us. And he's like, well, my friend, if I had to go with somebody, I'm glad we died bravely with you. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? That was great. Captain Boomerang got some of the best lines in this.
I laugh out loud.
Dude, I literally laughed out loud. I was like, that.
Then they all die.
And then they all die. It is such a great, like, even like how excited Harley Quinn is. Like, today we get to live up to our namesake of the Suicide Squad. It just, I don't know. Great movie. Definitely recommend you watch it. Everyone check it out. Justice League Dark Apokolips War, available now. Get it and watch it. Enjoy it.
Super fun. Don't let your kids watch it.
Don't let your kids watch it. And if there's something we missed or you want to talk about, hit us up in the comments below. I mean, right? I'm pointing my legs, but when this video's up, there'll be comments below, and we'd be more than happy to continue on the conversation. So
that sounds good.
All right, you got anything else, Ryan? Before I rip you in half?
No. I'll turn myself into a Ryan Trigun, and I'll get my 4 eyes going.
Oh my God.
Blast.
Whatever. I'm just going to launch you into a hole of nothingness. Anyway, well, until next time, everyone. Thanks for watching it. Stay awesome.
And stay nerdy, everybody.